we are going to address the issue of whether periods of dominance are good for F1 or not. From the outset, John Malone and Liberty Media made clear their intention to break the dominance of Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes-Benz, because they claimed it was making the sport boring and hindering attracting new viewers. Others, however, have claimed the opposite, that dominance is part of F1, and periods of dominance have produced some of the most exciting championship contests ever in the history of F1. For example, during the McLaren dominant years from 1988 to 1991, there was the competition between two of the greatest drivers of all time, Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. Furthermore, the fact that different tracks tended to favor different constructors and different driving styles also provided another layer of competition and uncertainty that varied from track to track. The records clearly show that F1 is, and has always been, a sport that goes through periods of dominance. There are times when teams dominate, times when drivers dominate, and times when a combination of the two dominates. However, because there are two drivers in every team, there's always competition between teammates to keep spectators entertained during periods of constructor dominance. Understanding that dominance does not automatically equate to boring, we will look back over the last 20 years to try and see whose period of dominance was good for F1 and whose wasn't. During this era, the Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes dominant period comes a distant third, behind those of Red Bull and Ferrari. But the Hamilton-Mercedes period produced some of the most closely contested championships in recent memory, along with increasing viewers and spectators. Our chart shows that the much criticized period of Mercedes dominance from 2014 to 2020 provided the widest margins between constructor and driver win percentages. This indicates that those were very competitive periods, with the winning driver facing stiff competition from inside and outside the team. This is corroborated by the fact that Mercedes drivers were allowed to compete freely. The Hamilton and Rosberg years, from 2014 to 2016, produced some of the most exciting and closely contested championship battles between teammates ever in F1 history. Ironically, it was during this period that Toto Wolff provided the template for using nasty off-track antics to destabilize Lewis by indulging Nico's antics, such as summarily requesting a switching of the teams inside the Mercedes garage. This was the nasty template that Liberty Media, Max, and Red Bull took to lower depths in 2021. Well, 2 seasons into the new regime that Liberty Media imposed on F1, to supposedly achieve closer competition and prevent dominance, it is abundantly clear that this initiative has failed spectacularly. Not only have Liberty Media ushered in a period of greater dominance than that of the immediate predecessor, they have also managed to accompany it with an unprecedented era of rigging, with instances such as the infamous Abu Dhabi 2021 season finale, the yellow line exit infringements on track, the budget cap and fuel breaches off track in 2022. Adding Red Bull's convenient engine advantage into the mix has created what appears to be a Liberty Media manufactured period of dominance for Red Bull and Max Verstappen. Viewers and ratings have fallen away decrying the rigging bore fest that the figures corroborate. The current season that is laboring under a rigging cloud is gearing up to be the most dominant ever in the history of F1. With only 16 races into a 23-race calendar, Max Verstappen and Red Bull are already assured of the driver and constructors' titles. Max's 81% win percentage so far is the highest ever in F1 history, and is likely to climb higher as the season progresses, as is Red Bull's 94% win percentage. The 2022 season, which was marred with rigging and team orders, produced 68 and 77% win percentages, respectively, for Max and Red Bull. The fact that the rigging, which marred the closely contested 2021 season, continued into the 2022 season, which produced a dominant victory for the beneficiary of the rigging, can account for why the 2022 season suffered under accusations of rigging and boring. Red Bull team orders appear to have been responsible for the lack of competition between teammates, while a suspiciously fortuitous advantage, by the newly developed and budget-busting engine of the inaugural Red Bull engine manufacturer, over the established engine manufacturers of Ferrari and Mercedes, made for a boring championship all round. The next best periods of dominance were in 2002 and 2004, during the 5-year period of Ferrari dominance, with 72 and 83% win percentages, for Schumacher and Ferrari respectively in 2004, and 65 and 88% for 2002. Coincidentally, this was during the period that the current CEO of F1 and the previous FIA president, who both presided over the 2021 Lewis Hamilton robbery, were both at Ferrari. It is instructive that F1 media and fans are debating whether Verstappen's period of dominance is more boring than that of Michael Schumacher's, and not Lewis Hamilton's. Nobody likes to see the same old people winning without a fight. Lewis has always had to fight for his titles, while all Verstappen's titles to date have been rigged or devoid of true competition. At no time has Lewis Hamilton ever enjoyed the level of dominance that Max has now, or Michael had at Ferrari. In contrast, Hamilton's periods of success have included closely fought competitions between teammates like Nico Rosberg and Valtteri Bottas, or outside rivals like Sebastian Vettel. Indeed, both Lewis teammates have provided stiffer competition than, under Team Orders Perez, has ever been allowed to provide against protected Max. The 2021 season, under the old rules, provided the closest ever and most viewed championship contest in the history of F1 that Lewis would have won but for the corrupt intervention of the race director. This would have been a fitting testament to his 8th title, and clearly debunk the myth that dominance equals boring. But by tinkering with the results to produce a fake champion, John Malone and F1 have shot themselves in the foot, and undermined the integrity of the sport. There is tragic irony and schadenfreude in the ill-informed critics of dominance, providing a boring spectacle that is killing F1, because they manufactured a period of unmatched dominance, by breaking the rules to prop Max up, while holding everyone else back, including his teammate, and the greatest F1 driver of all time.